Hey everybody! One problem people start having around this point in the semester is understanding the difference between differentiation versus integration and which you're supposed to do when. So let's practice with that a little bit. Given the function f of x equals 1/4 x to the 8th, find f prime of x and the integral of f of x dx. So we're first being asked to find the derivative, f prime of x. And for that we use our differentiation rules. The constant coefficient just comes along, and then we use the power rule on x to the 8th, and the power rule says bring the power down front and subtract 1 from the power. Simplifying then, we have 2x to the 7th. After that, we're asked to find the integral. So integral f of x dx. Don't forget to put both the integral sign and the dx. Okay, so in this case, we're integrating 1/4 x to the 8th dx. Don't forget the dx. Now we use the integration rules that you find in chapter 5. So one of the rules says if you have a constant coefficient, you can just keep it. Then we have a rule for the integral of a power function, and that rule says you're going to add 1 to the power, not subtract, but add, and divide by the new power. And we also have a plus c. Simplifying then, down in the denominator we have 4 times 9, which is 36. Up top I have x to the 9th, and I have my plus c. And of course, if you wanted to, you could write that as 1/36 times x to the 9th plus c. Either of those two answers is just fine. Let's see, and again, I used the integral of a power function rule. Notice we used a different set of rules for differentiating than we do for integrating. The rules for differentiating can be found in chapters 2, 3, and 4. And the rules for integrating can be found in chapter 5. So 2 different procedures with a different set of rules, and you have to know the notation to understand which one you're being asked for. So I know I was looking for a derivative in that first problem because it asked for f prime, which means the derivative. And I know in the second part of the problem, I was being asked for the integral because we have the integral sign before the function and the dx after. Let's try another one of these. Given f of x equals 1/x minus e to the x, find f prime of x and the integral of f of x dx. So for f prime, I'm using my differentiation rules from chapters 2, 3, and 4. let's see, before I get to that, in order to differentiate this 1 over x, I'm going to have to rewrite that as x to the minus 1. Okay, so f prime of x, I use the power rule for differentiating, which says bring the power down front and subtract 1 from the power. And then I keep the minus sign that's between the terms, and the derivative of e to the x is e to the x. So I used two different rules. I used the power rule. That was probably in chapter 2, and I used the e to the x rule. That was from chapter 4. And the e to the x rule just says that the derivative of e to the x is e to the x. The power rule says the derivative of a power of x is the power times x to the old power minus 1. Okay, so here I wind up with minus 1 over x squared, right? Because minus 1 is negative 2, and x to the negative 2 is 1 over x squared, and then minus e to the x. What about the integral of f of x dx? So integral of 1 over x minus e to the x dx. Don't forget the dx. So the integral of 1 over x, we've got a rule in chapter 5 called the integral of the reciprocal, which just says that the integral of 1 over x dx is the natural log of the absolute value of x. Okay, so that's what I'm going to have here, ln of the absolute value of x. Now, I can wait and have the plus c out at the end. I don't need to put plus c after every part. Then we have in chapter 5 a rule for the integral of the exponential function, which says the antiderivative of e to the x dx is e to the x. Okay, so I keep my minus sign, and the integral of e to the x is e to the x, and then I have plus c. So again, two different sets of rules. So basically you have to know both sets of rules, and you have to know which set you're being asked to use. F prime means the derivative. That's the rules from chapters 2, 3, and 4. If you have this elongated S sign, that means you're doing an integral, which means you're using rules from chapter 5.